Shalom Yisrael. I'm going to start by giving all praise to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and the honors to you brothers that are doing the work in truth with sincerity. Now, just as I was closing up, I basically got an alert, which basically said this, says US test fires intercontinental missile in California. Right. So, but the main thing I wanted to read was this paragraph here where it says an intercontinental ballistic missile was fired early Monday from a facility in California, the US Air Force announced, saying the tests were a message to the world about Washington's nuclear capabilities. You know, that's all that seems to be, you know, whenever you're listening to the news. That's all, you know, all you hear nowadays is war games. You know, because really and truly, we're already in this World War III. You know, it's no longer a Cold War. You know, this is a hot World War III, and it's going to get hotter. You know, and you see there's drills for me, but not for three. NATO launches war games near Russian border. You know, so all that seems to be happening, all you seem to be hearing in the news is, we've got news, and we ain't afraid to use it. Not too long ago, Putin was saying, look, I already put my nuclear weapons on standby to basically, you know, about the Ukraine thing. You know, today you're having the US saying the same thing. North Korea said the same thing a couple of days ago. You know, saying basically, you know, it's ready to, you know, if push comes to shove, North Korea will use their nuclear weapons. You know, they basically say, yeah, no, it's you know, retaliatory, only they wouldn't do it first, but you know, you never know what's gonna happen. You know, you've seen on the LX James, you've seen what can only look like, can be described as a mushroom cloud, which only comes from nuclear weapons, you know, being, you know, basically it was a nuclear explosion. Can only be described as a nuclear explosion in Ukraine. You know, it wasn't covered by mainstream news. Not even RT covered it. So at the end of the day, you know. So this is Jeremiah 50:9. It says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. You know, it's talking about Russia, and another thing that's been happening is the USSR is rebuilding. You know, not only has Russia already gotten Crimea, you know, but now they basically signed legislation with South Ossetia, which is basically saying the same thing. And all those satellite regions that used to be, that basically used to be the USSR, you know, Russia's gonna want to get them back. You know, you can basically take, you know, eastern Ukraine, you can basically class that as Russia. You know, it says, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. And that's playing to the point. You know, loads of missiles are going to be, you know, shot at Babylon, at America. You know, and none of them are going to return in vain. They're all going to hit their target. It says, and Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. Slovakia. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as the high fat grass, and bellow as bulls. It says, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the mace shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because of the wrath of the Lord it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourself in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord. You know, because that's the power of the Most High. The Most High basically put it in Esau's mind to make these nuclear weapons. You know, but they didn't realize it was for their own destruction. You know, and not too long ago, you know, I thought this was a recent article. It was actually from the end of December, well, beginning of December last year. One of the, you know, this is, you know, hypersonic strike vehicle, right? And basically look further into it, it's called the Wu 14, so Wu 14. It says the Wu 14 conducted its first test flight, blah 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 blah. It's capable of launching. Let's see. Okay, let me look for the point. No, damn, can't find the point real quick. But basically, this is another one where you can actually, have nuclear warheads. When they perform the test, there it is right there. It says TEL successfully tested a hypersonic delivery vehicle able to carry nuclear warheads at a speed of Mach 10, 12,000 kilometers per hour, which is 7,675 miles per hour. And assuming that there aren't going to be any planes in the skies, that they haven't got any satellites capable of dropping nuclear weapons or anything, assuming everything's stationary, I basically calculated the distance between China and America, and as you can see there, that's 3,942 miles. But this can travel at 7,675 miles an hour. Which means the scripture here, Revelations 18 and 17, it says, for in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors and his men as trade by sea stood afar off. It says, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein we were made rich, all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. So the scriptures say America will be completely destroyed in an hour, right? And if these are the military weaponry that they're telling us about, imagine what they actually have. Because they probably had this a good 30 years ago, man. So if it's traveling, maybe we just did the maths together. The scriptures have predicted this. How can you then go around, making mockery of the scriptures when the scriptures predicted, that there'll be a nuclear war, between Russia and America. It predicted that America will be destroyed in an hour, and the military capabilities say actually that is highly likely. And that's not taken into consideration the weapons that they probably have now. That's not taken into consideration the chariots of the Most High, which are going to be getting busy as well. And that's not taken into consideration that actually, there are going to be ships that are going to be launching nuclear missiles. Going to be submarines launching nuclear missiles. They're probably going to be satellites launching nuclear missiles. Because you obviously don't know what these military men have. You can only assume. For all we know, all these special effects movies have no special effects in them. Imagine that. Imagine Batman was shot with no special effects. That could be a possibility. You just don't know what kind of tech this man has. But with that, I'm going to say shalom.